How's it, guys? This is Dayvy FPL and welcome back to another Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video we're going to be talking about the Game Week 8 team selection. We're going to be looking at how the squad got on in Game Week 7 and then take a look at our transfer plans leading us in to that Game Week 8 lineup. So that's something you're interested in, sit back, relax and let's get into it. So a new season calls for a new sponsor, but here on the Dayvy FPL channel we like our old. So I've brought back the old sponsor, OneFootball, but with a completely new revamped app. Yes, OneFootball has gone over a complete marketing revamp, new logo, new everything. I've checked it out, looks really good. They kind of took the old app but just made it better, so I'm really appreciative of that. If you want to go check them out, link down in the description below to go download the app. If you don't know who they are, they're the biggest app on iOS and Android, so go check them out. I personally use them, so I can recommend them from a personal level. So review of Game Week 7, unfortunately it was another red arrow. We can have a couple of F's in chat for that one, but 45 points was below the average of I think about 53. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but unfortunately yes, it was another red arrow. We've kind of undone the work that we've done in the previous game weeks. We're now sitting at that 3.8 million mark. If you remember correctly, we were at 2.8 million, about a 1 million green arrow, but unfortunately, as I said, we've redone that work and gone right back down to 3.8 million. So a little bit unfortunate. I will say, however, even though this has been quite a bad start to the season, I've actually been enjoying the season quite a lot from not only a footballing point of view, but also an FPL point of view. It's just kind of the variance and the unpredictability of this season that's interesting me quite a lot. And the nice thing about it is, although we've been on the bad side of this variance, we can get on the good side of it, and that's going to boost us up the ranks because there's so many good options in FPL at the moment. If we manage to pick the right options and especially the right captaincy, which unfortunately has been something that we haven't been doing well, we can get that rank right up there to where we want to be. And I'm not losing faith right now. I think if you've lost faith already, I don't think FPL is the game for you, because we still have 30 game weeks left, and hopefully those 30 game weeks are going to be 30 green arrows. So 45 points, going into a more in-depth analysis of every single player. Martinez managing to get 0 points. I feel a little bit like I've broken the Aston Villa keeper, because as soon as I've brought him in, I've kind of ended this run of clean sheets that he's had. However, you have to look at the fixtures, and I've had played two attacking teams. Southampton ended 4-3, so I was kind of on the opposite side of what I wanted to be. I was hoping for maybe a 0-0 because I own Walker-Peters and Martinez, but it was kind of the polar opposite. It ended 4-3 there, so both sides not really proving their defensive abilities in that one, and unfortunately Martinez with 0 points. A little bit disappointed with 0 points, because that basically means that he managed to do not a lot of saves, and if he's conceding 4 goals, at least have some saves to counter it, because what that means is that he basically conceded every single shot. Now this could just be that Southampton had big chances totally, and every single shot they scored was a big chance and they should have been scoring, or it could have meant that maybe Martinez wasn't having the best game and he just let every shot in. But I don't think it's like that. I think Martinez is a quality shot stopper, and over these next couple game weeks I definitely think he's going to be getting a couple clean sheets. Maybe not next game week because they're facing a high-flying Arsenal side, but definitely in that sea of green that we've always spoken about. I think that Martinez is going to come in clutch in that goalkeeper position. The rest of the defense, besides Walker-Peters, because we've already spoken about him, was Taylor with just 1 point. Now I wasn't expecting Burnley to concede that many against Chelsea, but I always thought that they would concede, just considering that premium quality of those Chelsea attackers, and Burnley haven't really been their usual defensive selves this FPL season. So Taylor only with 1 point, and then we have Trent with 2 points. Now that Liverpool defense, every single mistake seems to be punished with a goal, unfortunately. Joe Gomez with quite a bad clearance. However, I do think that the defenders should have done better with that out of the box clearance. So with Joe Gomez clearance, West Ham managed to just latch onto it and score, and that was kind of their only real chance. They had some chances throughout the game, but there wasn't as good of a chance as they had or were gifted by that Liverpool defense, and unfortunately that resulted in the clean sheet loss for ALEXANDER-ARNOLD. Not really much of an assisting threat there. He had a couple of balls, but I was always expecting that Liverpool-West Ham game to be quite cagey, and we'll talk about that a little bit more when we go into Salah. So the midfield department is a little bit more exciting. Finally, Podence goes and scores 8 points, managing to score a goal. I thought that at the start of that we were going to be on for a really good week, because as you know, Podence is basically owned by no one, really low ownership, so a mega differential. So for him to get 8 points was really good for our team. However, after that, kind of the rest of the team didn't really pull their weight. With Podence, the nice thing to see as well is he seems a little bit selfish in that Wolves attack, and that's really what you want to see from your FPL options, because a more selfish player usually gets more FPL points. But with Podence, I'm really worried about some rotation there. We've been speaking about this for kind of every single game week, and we still keep him in our squad. But I think from an attacking point of view, that Wolves side simply isn't producing the stats that they want to, and I think that's going to call for some changes. So maybe Neto will get subbed for Traore, and then Podence will switch to the left-hand side, or it could just be Podence out for Traore, which seems to be kind of the move that goes on when they do look at a substitution. So looking at Podence, maybe keeping him for maybe another couple game weeks. I think at 5.5 million, not really too much of a risk there if we do keep him, as he doesn't have to necessarily play the full 90 minutes, maybe 60 minutes or 30 minutes, and he could still get a return. Salah there with a nice penalty against West Ham. Was a little bit disappointed because I didn't opt to captain him because I thought it would be quite a cagey game, as I mentioned before, and I didn't think that Salah was going to get the free flowing that he usually has when he can get some hauls, and that's exactly what happened. He didn't really have much threat besides the penalty, so was a little bit disappointed there with not captaining him because my thinking was correct. However, he managed to get that pen, and it seems that the pens are really coming to bite me this FPL season. If you can remember, in game week 1 we didn't have Salah, and he goes on and scores 2 pens, and then this week Kane scores a pen even though he didn't really have much of an attacking threat, and being the highest captain player, a lot of players actually had a green arrow and we had a red arrow because of that. Then we have Heung-min Son, which is probably the disappointment of the game week. We actually would have been better off captaining Sterling, who managed 3 points, but with Son I really thought that he would get a haul in this one. The Brighton game was really suited to Spurs, however that's not really how it turned out. It seems like what the trend with Spurs and how they play is the first half or the first 30 minutes they're really out there, they're really attacking, they're getting in that box, but then as the game progresses they simply just drop in form and the other team comes into it. You saw Brighton really come into it in that second half, were controlling the game quite a lot, and Heung-min Son just wasn't getting the chances. His stats out of this game were really disappointing and not really what you want to see out of your captain option, so he only returned 2 points, double to 4. Then with Sterling, we've spoken about him with these 3 points. Seems to be playing actually quite well recently, but seems to be the assist of the sister currently. He seems to open up that play and then passes it to a player who creates a goal scoring opportunity. But with Sterling, at least I still have him for that nice run of City fixtures coming in around game week 10, and I think because I've held him for so long, I might as well just keep him. And then going on to the forward line as our finalization of this game week 7 review, we have Mitrovic and Calvert-Lewin both with 8 points. Mitrovic nearly scoring a hat-trick of assists. A little bit disappointing that it wasn't a hat-trick of goals, because that would have been a massive amount of points, but just happy that he scored because he is quite lowly owned right now. I think under 10% ownership, so a little bit of a differential. Same with Raul Jimenez. Unfortunately, he didn't produce the goods, and it seems like his attacking stats simply aren't up to par. I know that he scored 2 goals in the last 2, but that's kind of been from 1 shot on target, which is not sustainable. So I'm really worried about Raul Jimenez, and he's definitely a transfer out that I am considering. Then finally, Calvert-Lewin. At least when he scored, I had him in my team. Otherwise, I would have been quite disappointed. Nothing much to talk about on the bench, so let's get on to some transfer plans for the next game week. So my transfer plans currently, these are the more flamboyant transfers. I'm probably going to be sticking to maybe 1 free transfer. I currently have 2 though, but I think using one of those free transfers is probably a little bit more realistic. I'm probably going to be doing the move we spoke about in the game week 8 preview. If you haven't watched that video, go check it out. I talked about Trent Alexander-Arnold and should you be taking him out and who should you be bringing in. And kind of the only player I'm considering bringing in is Chilwell. So probably the transfer that we're going to be looking at is Trent Alexander-Arnold to Chilwell. I just think over these next couple of fixtures, Liverpool won't be keeping a clean sheet because the fixtures look a little bit tougher from a defensive point of view. And I think with Chelsea's fixtures, they're going to be definitely keeping a couple of clean sheets over the next few. And Chilwell also offers that attacking threat. I've been holding off for this move for a little bit because I am a Liverpool fan, so I'm going to have to watch every single game without Trent Alexander-Arnold playing, and that's going to be kind of a hide behind the couch moment. I haven't made any of these moves, so please don't make them unless I do confirm them on Twitter. I'm just kind of waiting for that Europa League games that are going to be occurring tonight. I just want to see how Spurs play. I really do think that Spurs will be playing their full 11 because last game week they didn't play that well in the Europa League fixture, and I think Jose Mourinho is going to go full strength here. So just want to watch out if there are any injuries that do occur. And then the other option that we have the exact money to do is actually Raul Jimenez to Jamie Vardy. If Jamie Vardy wasn't playing Wolves this week, I think that I 100% would be doing this move. I just think with the way Wolves have been defending, that's kind of how they've been winning these games, is that they have a really good defense, not that best of an attack, but from a defensive point of view, they've been quite solid. And then Jamie Vardy goes and faces Liverpool, but I do think he'll score in that game, and then he goes on a nice run of fixtures. And as I said, I have the exact money to do this, so I'm going to have to monitor those price rises, and hopefully we can squeeze this in if we want to do it. So this is how the team is setting up for game week 8. I'm not going to talk about it too much, maybe just go over it in brief. So my captain 100% is going to be Heung-min Son if he's fit to start against West Bromwich Albion. It's just simply too good of a fixture to ignore, and Son's away form has actually been quite exceptional this season. So really backing Heung-min Son. If you own both Harry Kane and Heung-min Son, I definitely would go for Kane just because of that penalty threat. We saw it last game week. Even though he hasn't played the best game, he still gets a penalty and gets a return and a couple bonus points, and then you're going to be happy from an attacking point of view, and if you captain him especially. The rest of the team, not much to talk about here. If we do have those transfers of Alexander-Arnold to Chilwell, our defense is is actually going to be looking quite good. We have Taylor against Brighton, Walker-Peters against Newcastle, and then we'll have Chilwell against Sheffield United, which should be a clean sheet. And then in the attack, we have some good fixtures here. I think that Leicester versus Wolves fixture is quite a tough one, a little bit hard to call, but I definitely think that the Liverpool-Man City game, there could be goals in that one. So if you're looking for maybe a differential captain option, you could look at maybe Sterling or Salah, as I do think both teams will score in that one. I think it's going to be quite a close game after that though, so I think that Son has the highest ceiling in that game against West Brom. Mitrovic against West Ham, if we do keep him, he'll be playing West Ham, which I don't really know what to think about that, because although he's getting those chances, West Ham defensively have been really solid, and I don't really see a goal for Fulham in that one, and maybe a clean sheet for West Ham. Then Calvert-Lewin against Manchester United. Now Manchester United blow hot and cold, so maybe this could be one of those cold games for them, and Calvert-Lewin actually does quite well. On the bench we have Basuma, Coleman and Ferguson. The reason I'm keeping Coleman is that he should be back for after this fixture, as there is an international break after Game Week 8, and then he'll be back for that Fulham game, and I think that Fulham game is going to be really plum for Everton, and they should do well, and hopefully Coleman gets an assist or even a clean sheet. So this is basically going to wrap the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like it if you did, and subscribe if you're new or have not subscribed yet. As I said, I'll be confirming those transfers as I do them on Twitter, so go follow my Twitter at DayvyFPL. There is also a link down in the description below. I'm going to be signing off. This has been DayvyFPL, and I'm out. Cheers, bye.